Good morning and good day. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today. I'm just full of joy and love and light today. I'm currently sitting on my couch recording this session, watching the rain hit against the window. It's just a wonderful day. Absolutely wonderful day. And I welcome you back to another wonderful episode of Centize Unity Through Hypnosis. I believe this is episode 13 already. I've done so many of these now, I'm starting to lose track of what episode I'm on. So I feel truly blessed and honored that you're here with me today listening in. And as always, we keep it real here, so you may hear my puppy Renesmee in the background moaning because, that's what she likes to do. I joked with my wife about giving her a nickname and calling her Mona because she likes to moan. Anyways, I hope everybody's having a wonderful week. It is Wednesday already. The time is just moving by so quickly. And for this episode, I have a few things I wanted to discuss. And the first thing I wanted to share with y'all is we had another group session last Saturday that was focused on self-empowerment and expanded awareness. It was a group hypnosis plus Reiki. We do those often at the building, and it's wonderful. We have a small space, and inside the space, we can only hold 10 people, and we had 9 book. It was absolutely incredible. And on top of that, we had our first male. It's not often that we get any men who are interested in hypnosis or guided meditations or Reiki or any of that. And I often wonder why. And I haven't quite figured out why. Maybe it's a mentality that men feel they need to have, where they got to be the strong one in the family, or that what we do is woo woo and crazy, and maybe women are just more open or receptive to these things. I have no idea. I'm just speculating at this point. But it was an older gentleman, and he was so nice, so sweet, as is every person that comes to one of these sessions. And what I love about it is the variety of people that come into our space for these group hypnosis sessions. We get older people, we get middle-aged people, we get younger people. And when everyone walks through the door, you can tell immediately that they're shy, kind of don't really know what's going on. But by the end, we're all like one giant family. It's amazing. And my favorite thing to do is to greet everyone with a hug. I know there's some people out there that don't like hugs, and that's okay. And gosh, I hope if I ever come across one person that is like that and I go to give them a hug, I hope they tell me no, because I never want to invade anyone's space or boundaries. But I do always ask when someone sticks out their hand. I said, I'm a hugger. Is it okay if I hug you? Oh, yes. And they usually get me too. But these people showed up and had 9 wonderful, wonderful souls. And we had all the spaces set up for where everybody was going to lay. And we got everybody started. We do the somatic warm up at the beginning just to get your blood going and make you get the energy synchronized, really. And then I start into the hypnosis. And I say it's a hypnosis. It's a guided meditation. It's a 1-hour guided meditation. But really, guided meditations are all forms of hypnosis. You don't even realize it, but you actually put yourself into hypnosis more often than you even realize. You spend, I would say, 95% of your day in hypnosis. Even when you're focused on a task, when you're at work and you're focused on a task and you like zone in, you're actually putting yourself in hypnosis to get it done. So it baffles me when I hear people who are like, oh, I will never do anything with hypnosis. And I'm like, well, you actually do, but you don't realize it. But it's okay. I understand. It's not for everyone. But when it is for you, my space is always open. But we get started into the guided meditation, and I like to watch everybody as they're going through because when people start off breathing in a meditation, they usually breathe from the chest. And when I can tell that they're deep into the meditation and they're actually, they're traveling real far, their breathing moves to their stomach. It's a deep, deep breathing. And that's when the body is fully relaxed. And that's when you can receive the most healing, the most clarity, the most peace, and the most messages. Now, not everyone receives or sees things visually. Some people just sense them, and some people feel them. It's all different for everyone. So when we end the session and I pull everyone out, I give everybody a notebook and a pen, and I encourage everyone to write down what they saw, write down any messages they received, because it's just like a dream. It will fade. So we usually give them about 5-10 minutes to write down all that they see and to like sit up and come back to, because usually everybody's laying down. And we have chairs for people who don't want to lay down or, don't want to even get on the floor because they won't be able to get up. And I totally understand that because I cannot meditate laying down. I can only meditate sitting up. If I lay down, obviously. So I always make sure to have those options available. So everybody gets finished writing. And when everybody finishes writing, I encourage people to share what they get. Now, why do I do this? I do this because if someone comes in to a session and they receive something or see something that completely baffles them or like makes them question the entire thing, like it's just crazy in their conscious mind, like did I really see that? I didn't really see that. Well, this helps because if others are seeing such things, then it puts more validity in what they're seeing. So the first person shared, and, she was telling us that she was in a field. She's like, I wasn't even on the meditation. I kept being pulled to go elsewhere. I was trying to stick to it, but I kept getting pulled elsewhere. And I was in this meadow and I was surrounded by eyes, just eyes looking at me. And it was cute because I tell everyone when we begin, don't try to force the meditation. Wherever you go is where you're meant to go. I'm just giving a guided meditation, but you might not follow it, and that's okay because you're not meant to. You're just meant to be in this space where you can be relaxed and calm, and your team can take you where you need to go. And it was so cute because when she finished, as she was saying that, there was another person to the right, another woman. She was shaking her head in agreement. And she's like, I think I was in the same meadow as you. And we all started laughing. It was so cute. And you could tell that the first person was kind of confused as to why she was there. But then to hear that this other woman was also in a meadow made her feel better about what she received. Another woman, she's not a visualizer, she said. She feels things, and she felt her soulmate come in and just hold her and hug her and love her. And she felt the love. And It was so overwhelming for her in a good way that it brought her to tears. Isn't that just so beautiful? It brings me so much joy to witness such blessings, such gifts. And that's what we like to do. And that's the whole goal of these group sessions, is to just show people that you can totally relax with a whole bunch of people you've never met and receive such beautiful messages from your spirit team from the other side. It's amazing. I love it. That's my favorite part, is when people share. Another woman, she's like, I don't remember anything. She said, you started off the meditation and then I was gone. And I was like, that's okay. She goes, no, because I wanted to do the guided meditation. I wanted to remember. And I'm like, but that's not what you needed today. You got exactly what you needed. And when she came in, she wasn't feeling real good. And by the time the meditation was over, she said that she was feeling so much better. And I was like, well, there you go. You got exactly what you needed in this meditation. That's what I love about it. And meditation is not something that I ever thought I would advocate for ever in my life, because I've never been a person to meditate. And I talked about that in my previous episode. But really now it's one of the most important parts of my days. I like to do it 2 to 3 times a day, and just to get connected and to touch base. And I was actually sitting here this morning journaling about, thinking about what my life was like just 2 years ago. Not even a year ago, but 2 years ago. My life was full of alcohol, full of marijuana. Now, I'm not bashing marijuana and I'm not bashing alcohol, because I love both of them very, 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 very much. But 2 years ago, I would have stayed up and I would have partied hard. I would have done shot after shot after shot. I would have been so sick. I would have been hugging the toilet, calling for dinosaurs, playing drinking games. Like, I was all about it. I had so much alcohol in my house. I'd have several glasses of wine every evening. Like, it was routine. Alcohol was pretty much routine in my life. And in those moments, I'm such a happy, happy drunk. And I was such a happy drunk. And I love to dance. And I love to have fun. But then the next morning, oh, it would be just, I'd feel so sluggish. It would take me forever to recover. And I noticed the older I got, it would take 2, 3 days for me to recover from a night of drinking. And then on top of that, I would be smoking. Now, I love marijuana. I don't know. I love the smell of it. Every time we're driving down the road and we're passing the dispensary and I can smell it. I always tell my wife, take a deep breath in. Now, you're probably wondering why I don't drink anymore and why I don't smoke anymore. And the reason I don't drink anymore is because I had bariatric surgery. I was heavy. I had really bad high blood pressure, really bad heart problems, high high cholesterol on top of that, bad anxiety, like all of this. And I reached a breaking point where, and on top of that, I had PCOS before I transitioned. So it was always very, very, very hard for me to lose any weight. And I carried my weight around my midsection. And if you know anybody with PCOS, that is what happens. They carry their weight around their midsection. And that's where it had stored my entire life. I always had these tiny itty bitty legs. And I always say that I look like a potato in a condom with toothpicks at the bottom for legs. And I'd had enough. I wanted to lose the weight. I wanted to get off the medications. I wanted to become a better version of me. And so, actually, a year ago, just this past December in 2024, I had bariatric surgery. I didn't have the gastric bypass, I had this sleeve where they cut 80% of your stomach away and they convert your stomach into a banana hammock, is basically what it is. Your stomach is the size of a banana. Biggest blessing of my life. But I went through the most rigorous 6 months prior to surgery. Like, you had to go through all these classes, all of these trainings, and you had to commit to no alcohol and no smoking, nothing, because they needed you to prove to them that you would stick to this. And this was just the program I did. There's other programs out there that are not like this at all, that have nothing that says that after you have the surgery you can't drink or you can't smoke and you can't do that, right? It's just what I went through. So I had the surgery and I wasn't drinking for longer. It was probably 8 months before I even signed up for the program. And I had started to fall out of alcohol, and really I was leaning more towards smoking. I was smoking weed a whole lot more than I was drinking, and drinking was like hit or miss. I just wasn't feeling it anymore. I didn't like the hangover, and smoking I didn't have the hangover and I felt great, but I was still numbing myself, numbing my body, using it as a tool to just get through my day. And so after the bariatric surgery, I was probably 3 or 4 months. I picked up smoking marijuana again. They tell you you're not supposed to, but by that point, your stomach's pretty well healed. And yeah, I started smoking again. But I also had been meditating for quite a while and really developing a connection with my own spirit team. And they kept telling me that I needed to stop smoking because the smoking was creating a disconnect for me, for what I'm here to do in receiving any spiritual guidance and so forth. So I compromised with them because I had just bought, I think it was an ounce of weed, because I live in Oregon, so it's really cheap. An ounce is only like $40. I said, all right, after we finish this ounce, I'll stop smoking. And I did. And I did. And it's been amazing. My meditations have been absolutely deeper and more impactful and just everything in life. So I've been alcohol free for over 2 years, I would say. At least 2 years, and um, drug free for 3 or 4 months now. But in saying all of that, keeping up with my meditations from 2 years ago to today has absolutely changed my life. I used to be on a medication for anxiety. I can't even tell you the last time I got anxious about anything. The amount of peace, the amount of joy, the amount of happiness, stillness that is inside my body has come so far, and I've received so much more without any medication that any medication could have ever given me. That is what meditation has done for me. And my journey with the hypnosis with QHHT and evolving from that into meeting my dragons and doing my dragon healing would have never begun if I never took the time and took that first 5-minute meditation and devoted time to myself to sit down and put myself in stillness and to just connect. It's really been an eye opening, a world changing opportunity. And I treat it as such a blessing, as such a huge gift, an absolutely perfectly choreographed gift. And I encourage anyone to take advantage of meditation, whether it just be for a few minutes a day and you build up from that, because it only gets better. And if you sit and you try to do a meditation, an active meditation, you don't get anything, then I would encourage guided meditations. There's lots of them on YouTube. I have some on my YouTube under Soul Remembered that I created and recorded myself, and you're more than welcome to use those as well. But they can be fun. They don't have to be serious. It's just about getting you connected to yourself, to your spirit guides, to your angels, because they're waiting. They're just waiting for the invitation. They're waiting for you to meet them. And I tell everyone, meditation is like a relationship, especially if you're trying to connect with your spirit team. You meet someone new, you don't become best friends within the first 2 seconds. You build that relationship. And as you build that relationship, that's when it becomes a solid foundation. And that's what you create for yourself, is a solid foundation with meditation. Because now when I have moments and days, which, knock on wood, I don't have many of these days anymore, but when I have days of where I'm just really in the dumps and just having a rough moment, I now understand that everything is a lesson to be learned. So I know how to approach those now. But before, when I would be in those moments, I'd be like, okay, I need to meditate. I need to get into that state, because I'm either living so far into the future, which is anxiety, or I'm living so far into the past, which is depression, that I'm not able to pull myself into the current. So that's what meditation does, is it pulls me back. Yesterday I had a wonderful day because I was journaling yesterday, and I made the intention for 2026 that I'm going to treat every day and every moment like a gift. Because Bashar says that whenever you create every day and every moment like a gift, then you'll continue to open gifts up for the rest of your life. And so I did that. I was journaling yesterday, and I was like, this is going to be the greatest day ever. I'm going to, from this point forward, I am going to treat every day like a gift. And after I finished, I had to go to Costco. I wanted to get there right at 9, right when they opened, so it wasn't a madhouse. I get there. As soon as I get there, I ground in my truck and I cleanse and shield before I go in. You got to protect your energy. It's good. And I'm in and out of Costco within like 20 to 30 minutes. Even the lady at the door commented. She's like, we've only been open for for a few minutes, and you have a full cart and you're already walking out the door. I was like, yes, I wanted to get in and out. And she started laughing. It was a cute exchange. And I thought, oh, now I need to go to Bimart, which is in my hometown, because I had driven to Salem. So I had to drive 20 minutes home, and I had to go to Bimart to return a blender. And I did that. And when I came out of Bimart, I was like, I'm right here where Bugles is, my favorite coffee place. I'm going to swing through Bugles and I'm going to get a coffee. So I pull up, and they have punch cards, and I pull out my punch card, and I look down, and I have a free coffee. I was like, a gift. Here is a gift. How freaking incredible is that? I was so excited. And I'm not one that likes to take advantage of an opportunity. But I handed the lady my card and I was like, you know what? I'm going to do a medium coffee today. And right when I finished ordering, she paused and she looked at me, she goes, are you sure you don't want a large? And I was like, okay, twist my arm. Again, another gift. I was so freaking stoked. It was so wonderful. So wonderful. I drank my coffee. It was beautiful. I had all of this energy. I did all of this yard work. It was just such a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful day. And today, again, I had to go to a doctor's appointment. And my doctor is so cool. His name's Tyler. He's just badass. I love him. And I'm sitting there waiting for him. It was just a physical. And he comes in, he sits down. We're always just bullshitting for a minute. And he looks at me, he goes, do you ever meet people that just look at you and without them like knowing that you're trans or anything, do they like know that you were once female? And I was like, oh no, the only people that ever really know is the people that work here that know my chart. He says, yeah, he says, if I met you on the street, I'd never guess you were trans. He says, you passed so well. And I was like, thank you so much. And I treated that moment like a gift because, as a trans man, we strive so hard to be recognized as equals, as equals of other individuals. And it's amazing. And then I had to laugh because I was telling him how recently somebody thought that some guy, some gay guy thought I was a gay guy. And I was so tickled and I was so freaking excited about that because, I strive so hard to pass as a man, as a cis man, but to not only pass as a man, but to also pass as a gay man, I feel like that's a level up. Like I've leveled up in society now. I was like, yes, I was so excited. So it's an incredible existence. I am so excited. And I hope everybody else is having a wonderful, wonderful time in their life. And if you ever have any questions or ever need anybody to talk to, my contact information is on my Soul Remembered website, soul-remembered.com. Please feel free to check out our services. And if you're in the area, we'd love to have you for one of our group hypnosis sessions. If you haven't tried them out, they're a lot of fun. I also do virtual online group hypnosis sessions. Those are fun too. Those are through Zoom and they're a blast and they're only $20. It's a lot of fun. A lot of fun. But I thank you all so much, and I hope everybody is having a wonderful, wonderful Wednesday and have a wonderful rest of your week with much love and much thanks.